behind their feisty charm lies an amazing character. These cheeky birds have to bring up their chicks against the most extraordinary odds. Spy cams discover just how special they really are. From the freezing Antarctic to the scorching tropics, this is the story of nature's most devoted parents, filmed as never before. It's late spring in the Antarctic. Like all our chicks, the emperors are growing up, having been born and raised in some of the most extreme conditions on Earth. Since they were born 2 months ago, they have depended on their devoted parents for everything. But soon, they will have to start fending more for themselves. In just 3 months, they will take the biggest steps in their lives and make the long journey to the sea. Only then will they truly learn how to become adult penguins. ChickCam provides a chick's eye view as they start to become more independent. Already, they are spending more time away from their parents and huddling together for both comfort and company. But when you're the smallest, it's always difficult to join the big kids club. This chick must find a space. The Huddle is now his only source of warmth. It helps if someone gives you a little room. Although they spend most of their time together, they still rely on their parents for regular meals. With the frozen sea shrinking, each parent returns around once a week. They face the same problem. Their chicks all look the same. They're growing fast and always hungry, so they beg a fish meal from anyone. The father checks the call. This one's an imposter. He's immediately hassled by more chicks, all trying to catch a meal. With over 2,000 chicks to inspect, checking them all could take a very long time. So he approaches each group in turn and tests who reacts to his call. A chick responds, but she's stuck in the huddle with no way out. There's just one thing for it. She body surfs across the crowd. Made it, but she still must prove her identity. If the father feeds the wrong chick, the week he spent fishing would be wasted. He takes her clear of the huddle and completes further character checks. It's her tiny call that provides conclusive proof. She gets her just reward. In the Falklands, the rockhopper chicks are equally demanding. Now the human equivalent of teenagers, they have appetites to match. Rockhoppers are feisty birds, but these hassled parents struggle to satisfy their chicks' ravenous appetites. To feed the ever-hungry mouths, both parents must start fishing non-stop. A stream of overworked penguins depart for the sea. For the first time, the chicks are left all alone without a parent to care for them. The few grown-ups that remain peck at any stragglers. They force the chicks closer together. These aren't official babysitters. They're just adults that haven't bred this year. But as a result of their constant harrying, the chicks are gathered into a creche. Although not much nurturing goes on, the chicks are safer if they're huddled together. In the tropical deserts of Peru, the Humboldt penguins are also spending more time fishing and less time looking after their chicks. Like the rockhoppers, they can never get enough food. Their incessant begging drives their parents to endlessly go fishing. Each journey involves yet another trek across the hot desert. Humboldt Cam watches the daily challenges these penguins face. But with birds arriving and departing non-stop, the spy cam is working overtime. The penguins may be making the journey more often, but it doesn't get any easier. The cliff path was carved by the feet of countless generations. It's still treacherous. But this is the Humboldt's lucky day. At the bottom is a bed of feathers, blown here from thousands of seabirds molting in the colonies above. It provides a soft landing for any that lose their footing. It's the easiest descent we've ever made. They jump on feet first and enjoy the ride. The feathers may have cushioned the fall, but for Humboldt, nothing's ever that easy. The beach, once occupied by seals, has been invaded by hundreds of guano cormorants. The Humboldts merge into the crowd as they pick their way through. Luckily, cormorants are one of the few creatures here that don't attack penguins. But by chasing off the seals, they have simply shifted the problem. Fortunately, cormorants hate seals as much as penguins do. They mob them relentlessly, making their lives a misery. The seals only find peace at the edge of the beach. For once, things have gone in the Humboldt's favour. The cormorants may have cleared the area, but the penguins now have to compete with them for fish. It's lucky that in these rich waters, there's plenty to go round. In the Antarctic, the Czech spy camera is proving a real hit with penguins who haven't managed to breed this year. One even tries to take the spy cam under her wing. But it's a real chick that reacts to her contact call. Even so, the adult seems to prefer chick cam. As usual, this penguin cam is accepted as just another bird in the colony. But chick cam has work to do. The real chicks are growing up fast. They now spend most of their day in the huddle, while the adults watch from the sideline. They only meet at feeding time. When a parent tries to join her chick without calling it from the huddle, confusion reigns. The disturbed chicks immediately latch on to any adult that passes. Getting anywhere becomes almost impossible. As the parents' patience runs out, the chicks are forced to toughen up. Chicks, used to being doted on, find it hard being left alone. But, like a mother leaving her child at school, it's best not to make a fuss. As mum leaves for the sea, the chick tries to follow. But his mother doesn't look back. More parents leave, but the chicks won't cross an invisible boundary. From now on, they'll only see their parents when they return with food. The few parents left behind are the nearest they have to childminders. But they won't receive the same tender care they've been used to. Chicks are all learning to grow up. Like the emperors, the rockhopper adolescents spend most of their time waiting for their parents to return. It's easy for them to get bored, and that's when predators take them by surprise. Fortunately, they're now quite a challenge for gulls and skuas. And there are always a few adults standing guard. With time to kill, a chick starts exploring. For a social bird, being alone is never a good idea. A giant petrel, a predator still to be feared. And an adventurous chick is just what he's after. He's grabbed by his feathers. The petrel loses its grip, and the guardians pile in. Together, they overpower the most feared predator of penguin colonies. The petrel must accept defeat. The chick may have escaped, but he can't expect sympathy. With a few pecks, he's unceremoniously dispatched back to the creche. Even though emperors live over 4,000 miles away, they face the same penguin predator. The petrel's arrival causes a wave of anxiety through the colony. But dividing the group is exactly what he was after. Their best defense is to reform their huddle. There's always safety in numbers. They create a wall of bodies, difficult for the attacker to penetrate. The petrel tries to grab any that aren't safely tucked in. But the chicks have learned to fight back. Everywhere the petrel goes, he meets a wall of resistance. Here, his best chance is to break up the huddle and then single out a solitary chick. But even the placid emperor will fight back, and he wields a sharp weapon. For now, the penguins have isolated the threat. As night falls in Peru, low-light spy cams pick up the new dangers facing the Humboldt chicks. An old enemy is back. Vampire bats. They normally attack the sea lions along the shore, but young penguins provide a tasty alternative. The adults may be aware of the dangers, but the chicks suspect nothing. And few creatures are as sneaky as a vampire. many chicks to choose from, the bats are ultimately guaranteed a meal. The unlikely scene of a vampire bat feeding on a penguin has never been filmed before. The greatest danger is loss of blood, which over time weakens the chicks, and the bats also carry diseases such as rabies. The adults must be on constant alert to repel the bats from the colony. They are far from defenseless. Kicking dirt in the bat's face is a favourite tactic. This is their ultimate deterrent. But hitting the right target can be dangerously hit or miss. Soon, the chicks have another reason to leave for the sea. They all need a bath. At the Emperor colony, an ice rink has suddenly appeared. A slight thaw and then a freeze creates a chance to try out new skills. But penguin feet don't make the greatest ice skates. For everyone, it takes a while to master the technique. As every skater knows, the splits are a bad move. Soon everyone has a go. In a world of ice and snow, it's a skill that will always come in useful. And there's nothing like individual tuition to speed up learning. But for every success, there are always setbacks. And even the experts make mistakes. After all that practice, a well-earned rest. Hopper chicks prefer to save their energy until their parents return with food. Below, fishing parties arrive with fresh supplies all the time. Take the same perilous route back up the cliffs to their nests, but today the sea is especially rough. Faced by the trickiest jump of all, they decide better of it. It was a wise decision. The Atlantic swell is massive today. There is another route, but it's rarely used, and for good reason. There's just enough room for one at a time. With a full stomach, It's quite a squeeze. Rockhopper Cam watches those that make it through. But back at the entrance, a queue starts to form. More are backing up behind. It's getting crowded. And this penguin doesn't like queue jumpers at all. While he tries to control the crowds, some sneak past and take his place. But he seems more concerned with managing the gate crashers than missing his turn. It's like trying to keep back the tide. He finally gives up and goes through himself. With the penguins reduced to single file, it will be hours before they all arrive back at the colony. Most chicks will have a long wait for their supper. The first parents to arrive are immediately besieged by chicks trying to blag a meal. Like emperors, the adults must identify their own chicks among the crowd. Imposters are soon sent packing. Each parent uses a distinct call that the chick can recognise. In turn, the adult knows the unique chirp of its offspring. Identity check and confirmed. The parents lead their chick away from the begging masses to feed him undisturbed. Soon, he'll be big enough to leave for the sea. At the Emperor colony, the chicks are also getting close to becoming independent. In any class, there is always one more advanced than any other. This one's nearly as big as his mother. He's now putting away 5 kilos of fish in a single session, and it's almost impossible to keep up with his demands. With all this food, he's putting on huge reserves of protein stored in his muscle. It's just as well he's big for his age. Little does he know, this will be the last meal she'll give him. Without fuss or ceremony, she leaves for the sea. He doesn't know it yet, but she and most of the other parents are quietly leaving their chicks and the colony for good. The chicks, unaware of the great change in their lives, are left with just a few adults for company. They won't see their once devoted parents ever again. The rock rockhopper chicks have also reached a turning point. Before they can enter the ocean, they must preen off their baby down. Gradually, they reveal the sleek adult feathers beneath. Egg cam captures some of the punk styles that have started to appear. But before they become proper rock hoppers, they have one more skill to master: hopping. Jumping is infectious, and everyone joins in. It's all about strengthening the leg muscles. Even Egg Cam gets caught up in the excitement. In the Antarctic, the melting ice edge moves closer to the colony each day. The few remaining adults prepare to return to the place they love the best. Emperor Cam was with them when they arrived, and it's with them as they leave. As it discovered, no other bird endures so much for the sake of their chicks, and none is more devoted. In just 4 months, they will return here to breed once more, but for a brief time, their job is done. But Emperor Cam isn't alone for long. Adelies, the only other penguins to breed in the true Antarctic. They have a timeshare arrangement with the emperors, taking over the rocks around their breeding area once the chicks have left. On shore, another penguin cam captures a different view of the new penguin invasion. Over 100,000 will arrive over the next 3 weeks. Emperor Cam moves in for a closer look. Adelies are belligerent little penguins that won't let anything stand in their way. Fortunately, they seem to have a soft spot for Emperor Cam. Back in the colony, the Emperor chicks are discovering what life is like on their own. Many haven't fed for over a week. With hunger comes a change in behavior. They become restless and start to react to the distant call of the sea. They leave their icy birthplace and start their journey. discover a very different world than the smooth ice they've left behind. Every task they face hones skills that will be essential later in life. All the time, they still keep moving towards the sea. Although sometimes it's one step forward and two back. In Peru, the Humboldt chicks are just 12 weeks old, but they're also ready to leave the colony. As adult fishing parties head for the sea, the more adventurous of these chicks decide to join them. The youngsters are nervous. They've never left the colony before, and now they're having to cross the desert. The cormorants are a bewildering sight. Once thousands overran the Humboldt colony, he now has to face them again. For his adult guides, it's all in the day's work. For the chick, it's a different matter. To add to his confusion, more cormorants just keep coming. There's nowhere for him to hide. He's totally surrounded, and his penguin guides have vanished. 500,000 birds are a lot to cope with when they're just 3 months old. Alone, he doesn't even know the way to the beach. Then, a sight that might help him. Another fishing party travelling to the sea. He races to catch them. Together, they reach the cliff path. He immediately has second thoughts. It's a long way to the bottom. Some reassuring encouragement. It's just what he needs. He had reason to be nervous. The cliff path is steep, and the soft bed of feathers has blown away. And once he starts, there's no going back. Finally, he can fall no more. But as he's already discovering, for Humboldt, the challenges never end. Hundreds of sea lions and seals are blocking the way to the sea. The adults have faced this ordeal many times, but for the chick, it's a new and frightening experience. The chick's too scared to move, but the adults know there is only one way to tackle them, and that's head on. It might not seem a good idea, but it works. chick misses his moment, the adults have left him behind. As he retreats along the cliff wall, he chances on the entrance to a sea cave. This secret passageway was used by some of the penguins when they first arrived. He now uses the tunnel in reverse. Vampire bats lurk in the darkness, but by sprinting through the cave, he emerges unscathed. And more good fortune. The fishing party he was with has only just made it over the sea lines and are also approaching the sea. Other chicks have made it too. He won't have to enter the sea alone. This is the first time he's ever seen water. It's not a gentle introduction. He keeps a foothold. He wants to go in when he's fully prepared. He finally plucks up courage. This cold sea will be his home for the next 2 years, until he returns back here to breed. Finally, he is embraced by the waves. The Emperor Chick's introduction to water is a more gradual affair. In places, the ice has melted into pools of slush. He's never met a surface he can't walk on. None of the chicks have ever swum before, and it takes them all by surprise. This natural paddling pool is the perfect chance to test out their flippers for real. Swimming soon comes naturally. Although getting out is never as easy as getting in. But they now face a far bigger challenge. The petrol is back. They try to flee, but running isn't an Emperor's strong point. A slip is all the petrol needs. It has the chick by its neck feathers. But the down comes away, and the chick disappears in the crowd. Just as in the huddle, the chicks form a defensive circle and prepare to stand their ground. They might seem small and cuddly, but they're now nearly a metre tall. Quite a fight, even for a petrel. The nearest chick towers to his full height, making himself bigger and protecting those behind. His defiance buys time. It's a standoff. Then, from out of the blue, surprising ally. An Adelie. The Petrel has met these super aggressive penguins before. The Adelie confidently puts itself between the Emperor chicks and danger. The Petrel gives up. He knows when he's defeated. There are always other meals to be had. Accompanied by their rescuer, the Emperors continue their journey to the sea. At the Rockhopper colony, the chicks' big day has arrived. They all react to the same desire to explore the world beyond the colony. Like the Huddles, the chicks join adults making a trip to the sea. They don't know it yet, but they're making a one-way journey. The Rockhopper chicks have none of the Humboldt's fear. They're built to leap down cliffs, but at this age, they can't jump back up again. Like their parents, they're as tough as they can. They take scrambling down rocks in their stride, but a strange sight stops them in their tracks. Rockhoppers, looking like nothing they have ever seen before. They are young lone breeding birds who came ashore especially to molt their old feathers. The chicks' parents will soon be doing the same. While in this unsightly state, they are marooned on land. They also become bad-tempered and hate being disturbed. The chicks are soon forced on. The frontrunners are nearly at the sea. They may be brave, but they haven't the skills of their parents. Not everyone is quite so gung-ho. This youngster thinks he's found a safer route. But while he's dithering, the others make it to the sea. They leap into the waves with typical Rockhopper gusto. Pay to be cautious, but the chick's companions have left without him. He's He's well and truly stuck. The Emperor chicks are still being shadowed by the Adeli as they make their way to the sea. They stop for a rest and a preen. This is not what the Adeli was expecting, and it doesn't go down well. He's determined to move them on. They may be twice his size, but that's not going to stop him. He might have helped them earlier, but he's now got a different agenda. He wants the Emperors gone. He expects to have the place to himself. As the Adeli drives the Emperors away, they soon approach the sea. They may be close to the edge, but they show little interest in going in. Many still have their baby fluff. They must lose it before entering the water. The Adeli doesn't care. He just wants them gone for good. Gradually, he forces them closer to the edge of the ice. Finally, one gets its first taste of the sea. Other Adelis arrive, adding to the pressure. Another chick enters. Others get ready to join. But they're still covered in down, not the sleek penguins that are supposed to live for the ocean. For a moment, the Adelis have had their way, but the chicks aren't so sure. With all their fluff, they can't dive and could easily be captured by predators. They know they're in serious danger. They try to join the few who've already made it ashore. But if getting in was hard, getting out is even trickier. They use their bills as ice picks, just like their parents do. Next time, they'll enter only when they're good and ready, and then they won't be coming back. The rockhopper chick is still stuck. Despite his caution, he ends up taking the biggest tumble of all. But his troubles aren't over yet. A karakara, a dangerous predator. Another joins. At the worst possible moment, he's completely outnumbered. But then, backup arrives. Steamer ducks, the most aggressive in the world. They hate caracaras and won't give up until everyone is gone. The chick's not about to hang around. This time, he has some company for his final farewell. He takes the plunge, sliding down the rocks like it's a water chute. But it's not over yet. The giant petrel is back, predatory to the last. The chick dives, but immediately pops right up again. He's never been underwater before. This time, the petrel has him. Others close in for the kill. But the petrel loses his grip. This time, the penguin stays safely under for good and joins the others in the sea. He will never look back. This is where he is meant to be. He'll spend the next 3 years learning the secrets of the sea before he returns here to breed. He's now in his element and gone in a flash. In Antarctica, a week has passed and the chicks are finally preparing to leave. Chick Cam is there to watch them as they go. It was with them when they were born 5 months ago and has shared their challenges as they grew. But today is what the chicks have been preparing for. They will finally leave their ice world behind to spend the coming years at sea. Gripped by a collective urge, they start to move as one. They seem to have a place in mind. They travel along the ice edge with a sense of purpose and stop at the very highest point. But they have made their choice. This is where they will leave for the sea. The drop below is at least 4 meters. It's the biggest step they'll ever take. In the end, it's one chick who decides. He might be the first. He's far from the last. A cascade of penguins enter the sea. They have spent their early months of life on ice. But this is where they were born to be. like all the penguins whose stories we've followed, their success is due to the extraordinary devotion of their parents. In 4 years' time, these chicks will make the journey back and face the same extreme challenges, all to have young of their own. For now, they have a vast ocean to explore. Throughout all the filming, penguin cams became part of the penguins' lives. They have witnessed countless events that have never been seen before, and even became part of the Huddle. But being accepted also provoked jealousies. Then, as in all our spy films, things didn't always go to plan.
One of the world's craziest fools revealed on BBC Three now with Mr. T.